Hi everyone, and welcome to our live tutor Q&A for lesson 1 in your free mini course on botanical formulation. So I'm super excited that you're here. I hope you can join us live, but if not, then I hope you enjoy the replay, which will stay here on Facebook afterwards. So my name is Lorraine. I'm the CEO of Formula Botanica, and I'm joined here by Timmy Ratz, that side.
Hiya.
Our head of formulation and research. And together we're going to run through the questions that you've posted up, and there are quite a few there already from what I can see. It's super exciting. And we're going to talk to you a little bit more about lesson 1 in your free course and the formulation that we've been teaching this week. So first of all, if you haven't registered yet, why not? We've got almost 4,000 people in over 130 countries in this free mini course already, which is
amazing.
so exciting. I know, right? And I mean, we set this up really because so many of our students and us as well, we're stuck at home. You know, we're in lockdown, we can't go anywhere. And we know that a lot of people are struggling a little bit at the moment. So we wanted to give something back to you and lift your spirits. And we know that formulation can do that, don't we, Timmy?
Exactly right. Yeah.
Timmy is our head formulator, so she does this all the time, and she's absolutely the right person to have here. So you're in for a treat today. So if you haven't signed up yet, the link is above this video, I think. It's at course.formulabotanica.com. Go and sign up, click on create new account. It's super simple. You get sent an email and it says, would you like to verify your email address? You say yes, you log in and you get started straight away. So the way it's going to work is lesson 1 is available now, right now, and next week, Monday, lesson 2 will become available on organic toners. And then the following week, lesson 3 on Monday, on April 13th, will become available on organic serums. So we're giving away some of our best beginners course materials to you for free. And I really, really hope that you enjoy them, because let's not forget that just because we're stuck at home doesn't mean we have to give up on our dreams, right? We still have dreams of being organic formulators and maybe even turning those formulations into a business. Let's see, we've got a couple of people commenting saying they can't hear us or see us, so that's not helpful. Let's have a look. I can see us. I can't hear us because I'm not going to turn the volume up, but if you have any problems, please post up in the comments and hopefully everything's okay. So shall we get started? Let's see. First of all, Timmy, do you want to give a brief intro into BiPhase cleansers?
Sure. I'm just a bit. Yeah. Okay. Anita is saying that she can hear us and she can see us. Okay. So that it's not me. Suddenly I started to worry that my tech again is just out of the window. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, George is saying that.
Thank you.
Perfect. Yes. So this week we taught you how to make BiPhase cleansers, and I'm pretty upset because I don't have one at hand to show you, but chances are that you guys have already made one. Now, BiPhase cleansers, I remember long time ago, before I even studied at Formula Botanica, I already purchased one BiPhase cleanser from one of the mainstream brands, and I fell in love with it. So when I started studying at Formula Botanica years back, I think we had that there in the course as well. So this is one of my go-to products, as well as I think it's one of the easiest place to start formulating. It could be tricky, but I think it's up to you how you work with it, how you approach the topic. So a BiPhase cleanser is basically, in case you haven't done the course yet, you've got a bottle with water phase and oil phase on top. In order to use it, you have to shake the bottle. It will create what we call a temporary emulsion, and then you just spray it either in your hand or on a cotton wool and cleanse your face with that solution. Why I love it is, first of all, it deals with oil-soluble, water-soluble grime. So even if you wear waterproof makeup, it will deal with it. Second, as a formulator, the choices are unlimited. There are so many oils you could choose from. You could choose from so many hydrosols, or keep it super simple with whatever oil you have at home. Let's just say olive oil, and some distilled water. So you can make it as complex or as simple as you want.
Yeah.
On top of it, you could use it as a cleanser, use it as a moisturizer, use it for your hair. So there's so many possibilities when it comes to a BiPhase cleanser. So this is what this week's lesson was about: how to create these BiPhase cleansers, what you need to pay attention to, and of course, things like preservation, ideas, inspirations. It's a good place to start formulating if you haven't done so.
Absolutely. So let's dive into some of your questions, because we're here to help you with your formulation. If you haven't watched the teaching video in your course yet, please do go and watch it, because we show you how to make one in there. And we're here today to answer all of your questions about the formulation that hopefully you've been trying at home. And we've got lots of them, so let's dive straight in. So I'm going to go back to the ones that were already up here.
I'm sorry, I interrupt you. I can try to show it on the actual live stream, but the comment might be exactly, it would cover us totally, or it would cut off the question. Don't
worry, I'll read them out. So we've got one from Akriti who says, hi there. So a BiPhase cleanser, as mentioned, is typically used to remove makeup. But for it to be an eye makeup remover, I would need to remove essential oils from my formulation. Is that right? Because no matter which essential oils I use, it always stings my eyes. So let's start with that bit of the question.
Exactly right. That's what I would say. Remove the essential oils. The thing is that, as I said in the beginning, you can make it as simple or as complex as you want. And for anything around the eye, you want to avoid essential oils. Some people choose to add teeny weeny bits like 0.05% or 0.1%. I would go for no essential oils if you use it around the eye.
And some carrier oils have quite a nice fragrance as well. So if you do want a nice fragrance, then it's perfectly possible. And the hydrosols, of course, do too.
Exactly.
Let's see. Now, Akriti goes on to say, I'm formulating an all-in-one makeup remover for facial skin as well as the eyes. I personally love oils to remove makeup, and I've even tried cleansing oils such as polyglycerol 4-oleate. Now, that is an emulsifier that allows you to make gel-to-milk formulations.
Oil to milk. Sorry,
correct. Which takes makeup off like nothing else. But I'm disappointed by the tacky smell of oils when I'm using it. And I haven't come across an oil that smells good on its own and is less expensive, since it's going to be a wash-off product. So what would you recommend to someone saying that?
Well, you've just said it 2 minutes ago. There are a lot of oils that have very nice scents. One of our favorite, and I was thinking yours as well, Lorraine, is the plum oil. Plum seed oil is absolutely gorgeous. It's not for everyone. Like, my partner hates it because he doesn't like marzipan, and this particular oil smells like almond, like marzipan, but it's got a very nice fragrance. And if you match it with a suitable hydrosol, it actually creates a very subtle but still very lovely scent. So you could go for plum, you could go for strawberry. Now, strawberry, you need to be kind of careful, simply because depending on where you buy it, the scent will be slightly different. Up until now, every time I worked with strawberry seed oil, it smelled like strawberries. It's just delicious.
So lovely.
Yes. My new one is apple seed oil. It's again amazing, very subtle scent, but still, as you said, some oils do have that, because they are cold pressed, they would have that typical oil scent. So in this case, you might want to incorporate strawberry or plum. Those two are superb. And even if you don't replace the whole oil phase, just use a bit as part of your oils.
Yeah, absolutely. And as I said, the hydrosols can give quite a nice scent as well, which is the beauty of the BiPhase element. I mean, you can do so many cool things as well. So many different oils have really great colors. I mean, I was sent a couple by one of our graduates, Emma from the Sunday Standard. So these only just arrived in the post, actually. And
look at that.
This is her night oil. Beautiful color. That's sea buckthorn and rose hip. And this is her day oil, which has blue tansy in it.
A bit up.
Oh, sorry.
Very nice.
I was so focused on the label, I wasn't looking at where I was holding it. Down here, you can't see it. So yeah, let your imagination run riot and go and experiment with different oils because they're so exciting. Right. So we've got a question here, quite a biggie, from Rusa, who says, how do you calculate the weight of each ingredient from the percentage needed?
Well, the simple way to do it is just you decide your batch size. So first of all, let's just say you've got a bottle at home and it can take 30 grams. It's very important that when you calculate your formulations, you don't go for milliliters or drops or spoonfuls. That is not what we do here, and we don't recommend that at all. So always go for grams. So you need to weigh them, not measure them as in for volume. So you have your batch size. Let's just say your batch size is 50 grams, and then you need to go on and calculate every single ingredient. So if let's just say 50% is oil, so how much is 50% of 50 grams? So you have to go back to maths a bit. We feel your pain. You're not the only one. It can be daunting, but just stick with it. And well, basically, this is how you do it. So go through every single ingredient once you have your full batch size and start calculating each and every ingredient.
Yeah. And yeah,
That's a short version.
Yeah. Try and keep it simple and manageable. You know, you could have a 100-gram batch size. That makes it easier to maybe calculate the percentages into weight, but you know, don't stress yourself out too much over it. Let's see. We've got a question here from Johanna. She says, Johanna, I was thinking, should we change the oil to water ratio for this BiPhase cleanser so it removes makeup effectively without leaving a greasy feeling? And I think someone else left a comment about this as well. So if you think that the feeling of the oil on your skin isn't pleasant, do you think you should change the ratio slightly?
You can do whatever you want. This is the beauty of it. With this particular formulation, you can't go wrong. So you can go for 10-90. My personal favorite is 25 water and 75 the other way around. 25 oil, 75 water. And the reason is exactly the same, that I find it's too greasy for me. I don't need it because I apply moisturizer, actually 2 of them afterwards. So for me, it's just easier. Also, when I used to create 50-50 versions, eventually I was left with a lot of oils. It's like kind of all the water got used up. So then I kind of just chucked the whole thing out because I was left with too much oil. So it really depends on what you like, but you go for it. Change the ratio. That's not a problem.
Yeah. Let your imagination run riot. Let's see. We've got a few questions about preservations. I'm trying to pair them up a little bit. Let's start with Patricia's question. Which preservative could I use in a BiPhase cleanser?
Well, in general, with most of the in a minute I can tell you, with most of the formulations we will be teaching in the course, we always recommend you go for something that's a broad spectrum. So that's what we call it, a broad spectrum preservative, and that they are usually blends. So the one we use in the course, we call it Preservative Eco. In various parts of the world, they are called GeoGuard, ECT, or Plantaserve, I think. So there are many trading names for the very same preservative. But if you look in the course notes, we actually gave you the INCI breakdown. So that's the one you should search for. So just copy the INCI from the course and put it in your search bar and find this particular preservative. Now, this is a broad spectrum one. And as I said, it's got 4 different components because each component will deal with either bacteria or fungi or mold or what have you. So they are often proprietary blends, and that's what you should stick with. So I can't really tell you which one is the best because there's no such thing. Some people I like Preservative Eco, for example. We've heard from students some people can't handle it because it has a benzyl alcohol, which often causes sensitivity in certain individuals. Like I have no issues with it. So obviously then you need to go for something different. But whenever you choose preservative, make sure it's broad spectrum. And the only way to know it is that you talk to your supplier or just get the opinion from the supplier.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a few more questions about preservation. So I think Timmy's answered quite a few of those, but I will scan all of them to make sure that there aren't any additional questions. We've got a question here from Rogaye. It says, first of all, thank you for the great course. Thank you for signing up. We're so pleased that so many people have joined us. I mean, almost 4,000 people already. And I'm hoping we could get to, 10,000 people, because we're all in this together and we're all going to formulate together, which is so much fun.
Every morning I log in and just to check the numbers, and I was like, oh my God, what's happening? It's crazy. Good for you guys. Go for it.
Exactly. Make the most of it. We're doing this to help you. No other reason. We have no agenda here. We just want to lift you up through formulation. Let's see. So the question is, according to the BiPhase cleanser course, my questions are, well, there are quite a few of them, so I'll break them down one by one. Should we always use vitamin E in the blend?
It's up to you. So the vitamin E is an antioxidant, so it's not a preservative. You must remember that. And in this case, the vitamin E is not just for your skin, but also to protect your oils from going rancid. So especially if you are using fragile oils that could go off very quickly, let's just say you leave it out in the sun, you leave it in the windowsill, they turn rancid quite fast. Vitamin E will help prolong their shelf life. If you don't want to use vitamin E, there is another one, what we call rosemary, either rosemary antioxidant. Some places sell it as rosemary CO2 extract. You could use that too. I tend to use both. So when I create oil blends, I tend to use a little bit of vitamin E and a bit of rosemary. See which one you prefer. Yeah. The good thing about the rosemary is that you need teeny weeny bit. So it's around 0.10%, very tiny amount. So you could use some cool ingredients with it.
So the other part of the first question is, does lavender essential oil act like vitamin E? And the reason that they asked this question is because in one of the sample formulations we provided in the course in lesson 1, we used lavender essential oil, but we didn't include vitamin E. So I don't know off the top of my head what was exactly in the sample formulation. I can go and open it. But we didn't use vitamin E in it.
That is because what we do at Formula Botanica is we start everything off really, really simple. So let's just say you start with 1 oil and distilled water. See how it works. Make 2 oils and distilled water. See how it works. So that's what we call layering. So you start off very, very simple, and then you start layering other ingredients. So the reason was probably for this particular bit where we have lavender oil and not vitamin E is because we just want...
Sorry, I'm just looking at the formulation. We do have vitamin E in there.
We do have vitamin E. Yeah. Okay. Well, either way, if you ever sign up to a course, whenever you want to sign up, or if you ever sign up, you will notice we always start simple, and then we start adding more and more ingredients to layer stuff and make things a bit more complicated. But we need a good base so we could build on that.
Yeah.
But no, lavender oil is not vitamin E. So lavender oil, essential oil, is what we call an aromaceutical. It doesn't work like vitamin E, so you can't replace one with the other.
Yeah. Okay. So the next part of the question is, should we test the pH of the BiPhase cleanser? So I hope that you've watched the training video in your course, because I think you might find that we do that in there. So what's your answer to that, Timmy?
Yes, always. What you need to remember that while you've got this amazing free course, we always encourage people to experiment. So don't just follow the recipes we give you, but try your own versions. And depending on where you source your hydrosols, which hydrosol, whether you add maybe distilled water instead of the hydrosol, the pH will change. So you always have to check them. Don't rely on us to tell you the pH is XYZ. Check it for yourself. And not to mention, by checking it, you gain the experience. You learn how to work with the pH strips. You learn how to read them, interpret them, and the whole process is educational.
Yeah. So would you test the pH of the whole product, or are you only going to test one particular part of it?
I would start with the water phase.
So you basically test the pH of that before you add the oil phase on top, and you have this finished blend. Yeah,
exactly.
So the question, last question we have is, what's the shelf life of this BiPhase cleanser, and should we stability test or not?
Again, depending on your ingredients, the shelf life will be different. And the other question, should we do a stability test? Yes, definitely. Again, depending on how far you want to go. If you create these products because you're at home and you just want to have fun, I really wouldn't worry about stability testing as such at this point. You are creating these products to have fun. You are not here to, to sell these products. If you really want to go for it, then one of the best things you could do is leave a bottle on the windowsill in the sunlight and see how it changes. Check your product every week. Take notes. Does the scent change? Do you see any weird bits floating around? Has the color changed? So you could do very simple tests, even at home. You don't need, equipment for it. Leave a bottle in the windowsill out in the sunlight and see.
Yeah.
A lot of things affect it. So let's just say if you have your BiPhase cleanser in a nice see-through, a transparent bottle, that will definitely react with the sunlight. But if you choose to have one of those really cool, like the brown bottles, or the blue or even black bottles, they will protect it from the sunlight. So your stability test the result will be different.
Yeah, absolutely. But don't worry hugely at this stage, because this is a fun free course to just get you to restock your shelves in your bathroom, making cleansers, toners, serums, and get to grips with formulation and have fun with it. And if you do decide in the future you want to take it further, then you can really start to delve in professional formulation. Come and study with us. We have big courses on these topics. We even teach a whole course on stability testing. So, but for now, just have fun with it, as Timmy says.
Yeah, I wouldn't worry at this point.
No. So we've got another question about Preservative Eco, which is the preservative that you just referred to. And it has various trade names around the world. It's also known as GeoGuard ECT, and I think the Plantaserve MS, can't remember. Anyway, it's got lots of different trade names. If you Google the INCI name, so the actual sort of scientific name that goes with it, which is in your course notes, then you will find various different trade names for this ingredient. Right, so with that done, Akriti says, as we know, Preservative Eco is not completely miscible in water. We know that. So that means it doesn't blend completely in water. So there are some droplets floating in the water phase, which sometimes even gets the phase slightly cloudy. True, but you are dealing with two different phases in a product here. So she says, am I the only one who feels Preservative Eco has its limitations when it comes to the nutty almond smell that overpowers everything, especially in a water-based product? My BiPhase cleanser smells of nothing but the preservative. What do you think, Timmy?
It's true. And this is what we mentioned beforehand, that it's not for everyone because it does have a scent. My experience is that it goes after a while. So, if you wanted to use the product straight away, I would say don't. Just give it a day. Now, Preservative Eco is a bit of a funny preservative in this sense because it's not soluble in water, but it's miscible in water. So up until 1%, let's just say 0.8, it should be okay in water, but you need to give it 24 hours. And in this case, because it's got oil-soluble part, and as Lorraine said, we're dealing with two phases, it should not be an issue, but you need to leave it for a day or two for everything to settle. Now, if it gets your product cloudy and it doesn't clear up, first of all, check that is it your preservative, or does it do it without the preservative as well? By adding some salt, the salt will accelerate the separation of the phases. And I found it many times that it helps clear up the water as well. So this is where formulating becomes a bit complicated. And it can also be because of your hydrosol. So you need to check, is your hydrosol already preserved? What is it preserved with? Is it a real hydrosol? Or is it an essential oil solubilized in water. So there are so many issues that you may come across when it comes to this, the cloudiness and the preservation. It's very difficult to give a definite answer with this for this issue, because there are so many variations that we don't know. If you feel Preservative Eco is not for you simply because of the smell, you will need to look for another one. There are very good preservatives out there. Or you could try to blend one preservative with another. And usually when you go to a supplier website, they tell you this particular preservative is great against bacteria, but you should blend it with XYZ to protect from mold and fungi. So you need to do your research.
We've had a couple of questions about different preservatives, actually. So
okay.
I'm just going to try and summarize them all. There are so many comments here. I'm reading all of them as they come in. So thank you, everyone, for joining us live. And I really hope you're enjoying the course. So Denise asked about Dermosoft 1388. We've got Redeemer asks about Preservative Cosguard. We've got, there's more of them, hang on. Rita asks about Germol Plus. So you can see there are all these questions about what do you think of this preservative? And it really depends on the pH of your product, on the ingredients you're using. Well, you talk to me because you know this even better than I do.
No, but that is exactly it. So preservation alone, we have a separate course on that because it's so complicated to, we can't tell you use XYZ for one product, because everything affects how a preservative will work. Quite often, like with the Dermosoft 1388 Eco, it's great, but it's probably not enough for this formulation. So if, let's just say that's what you want to use, I would use that at a recommended level. And I would also use a little bit of Preservative Eco to get the broad spectrum, because 1388 Eco is not broad spectrum for a product like this. So it's not easy. It's a big topic, but if the first thing you need to do is check if the preservative is broad spectrum. If it is, okay, great. Check the solubility. Check what you could just Google the preservative and see what others say about it, like the almond scent for Preservative Eco. It's really not a black and white topic.
Yeah.
We
have a really helpful checklist on our blog on how to choose the right natural preservative. And most of our team members are in a meeting at the moment, but one of them hopefully will be able to post this up later. Otherwise, we will do it. But if you go on to the Formula Botanica blog, just formulabotanica.com/blog, there's a search box at the top. Just type in checklist preservative and it will come up. And you can download it, and it will hopefully give you some guidance as well on what you need to look for when choosing a natural preservative. So let's see, we've got a question here from Liney who says, good question, during a cleansing routine, at what stage would you use a BiPhase cleanser?
For me, that's the first step, but that's me. I think everybody has a kind of routine, and if you already have one that works for you, don't change it. As they say, if it's not broken, don't fix it. Why would you? I personally use the BiPhase in the very beginning. Then I would use a toner to remove the residue and then move on to moisturizing. It's a personal thing, I think. It's really up to you.
I think BiPhase cleansers are amazing, and hardly anyone makes them or sells them. And I find this really puzzling. I mean, can you see all those products behind me on my shelf there? And I've got quite a few here in front of me too. Those are all from our graduates at Formula Botanica. I mean, they're a fraction of the products made by our graduates because there are obviously thousands. But I went to have a look before this live stream. I don't have a single BiPhase cleanser in there. Otherwise, I would be sat here showing it off to you right now. So no one really makes them. And yet they're so incredibly effective, and they're fun as well, because as I said, you can combine scents and colors and all sorts of different creative ideas. So we need to see more BiPhase cleansers on the market, I think.
Yeah. My biggest, for me, the best thing about BiPhase is the scent and the color, that you could really create something one of a kind if you play with this, the color and the scent together. Because obviously there are so many great carry oils and hydrosols. And then not to mention that you could create a good multitasking product, as we talked about it, that you can have a cleanser, you could use a moisturizer for the hair, you could even shake it up and add it to your clay mask to activate your clay mask. There are so many things you could do with it. It's a shame it's not a popular one, and
it should be.
It should be. It really should be.
Yes, I want all of you guys to make your own BiPhase cleansers, use them, test them, and then go and sell them. And if you go and have a look at our Instagram account, actually, in the last 5 photos or so, I've put up 2 pictures of BiPhase cleansers that we've made. And one of them was even a salt spray cleanser that we made. Not a salt spray cleanser, but a salt spray for the hair. Yeah. From our hair care diploma. So go and have a look, because there's a photo of it. And we use buriti oil in it, which is bright red. And it's so cool to look at. So that's, yeah, really cool. Go get some inspiration from our Instagram account. Okay, so we've got a question from Dana, who says, or Dane, I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing your name, my apologies. I used this cleanser as my daily cleanser without wearing makeup, and it left some oily residue on my face. So this is coming back to something you said earlier to me. Would it be a good idea to reduce the oil percentage? And is this an okay cleanser for your daily cleanser? Would you follow up with any other cleanser?
Yeah, so the first question, yes, go for it, reduce the oil phase, or even you could just change the oil. So you could use something that's something that has a bit of a drier feel. So something like, I don't know where you are in the world, whether you could get some oils like kiwi seed or rosehip would have a bit of a drier feel, not that rich. You could try that. What was I going to say? Yes, so reduce the oil, the percentage of the oil phase, or just use different oils and see how they are. When you start formulating, it's a good idea that whatever you work with, try them alone. So try every single oil, try every single hydrosol, see what they smell like, how fast they absorb into the skin. Is it greasy? Is it yucky or tacky? Write it down, because you can always go back to those notes when it comes to choosing your ingredients. Second question, yes, it's great as a daily cleanser, especially if you play with the ratios. Absolutely not a problem with it. If you want to follow up with any other type of cleanser, again, that's a personal thing. So I personally don't. Some people do, if they do, like you say, double cleansing, or they use a foaming cleanser, and it's a personal thing. It's up to you.
Okay, I'm trying to scroll through all these amazing questions here. I will try and get to all of them. I'm doing them in an order in my head. So if I haven't covered your question yet, I have noted it and I will come back to it. Particularly the more advanced ones, I'm leaving till the end. So bear with me. And Evita, thank you so much for sharing that blog post. You're a star. So if you want to see the checklist preservative blog post, scroll up the comments, because Evita put it up there. Thank you.
Oh, it's there.
Awesome. So Sharon asks about salt. We've had a couple of questions about salt, actually. Is it necessary? Let's start with that.
Absolutely not. No, and I have to say, I sometimes use it. I sometimes don't. It really depends on, what I need to work on, or whether I'm making it for myself or for someone else. Salt is there to help separate the phases. And what I noticed that if I use, let's just say 1% or even a little bit more, the phases separate too fast. So then I keep on shaking it, and quickly 2 sprays and it's gone again. So I personally like to use a little bit of salt or no salt for me, because then the phases stay together for a bit longer. But then, I'm sorry, I thought someone came in. But if you don't use salt, that's okay. You use salt, that's okay too. It's again, there's nothing wrong with or without, whichever you prefer.
So following on from that, Nancy said, is salt really necessary? We just answered that. But interestingly, she said, my biphase cleanser went triphase after I readjusted the oil and water ratio of my formula. Have you ever had that happen?
Yeah, it could happen. What happens is that with the salt or without the salt?
I think with the salt, it turned it into a triphase cleanser. Maybe it wasn't the salt though.
Yeah, because it could happen if, I don't know, I don't think I've ever experienced that with salt. Without salt, yeah. because what happens is some carrier oils may have components that kind of emulsify. So if you think about, let's just say, avocado oil, it's got something, it could be like lecithin, and these are emulsifiers. So when you shake the product, a little bit starts emulsifying, and that creates a third layer. But it can be a reaction of, I don't know, preservatives, or it could be a reaction with the oils. It's not easy to say why that happens. This is when you have to go back to the drawing board and go back to basics. So try one oil and distilled water, see if this happens. If it doesn't, move on. Add the next ingredient, see if it happens. That's the only way to investigate why that third phase appeared.
Yeah. I will follow the formulations we've given you in the course, so you can use a tried and tested one, because that's why they're there.
Exactly.
Okay. So Akriti, and I have seen your other question about micellar water. Don't worry, I will ask it. What do you think of apple cider vinegar in the water phase?
You could use it. A lot of people love it. You have to be careful because it's an acid, it's acidic. So you need to just make sure that your preservative works within the pH range of the product. So just, just check the pH and make sure it's adjusted. Regarding the percentage, it's again a personal thing. I would probably start with 2 to 5% and change from there on. See how you like it. I personally don't care for the scent of vinegar. If you do, just go for it. But I would say dilute it. So don't use the vinegar alone. No. Just dilute it, obviously.
No, obviously. Okay, let's see. We've got Lucy here who's asking about water. So presumably she wants to add water to the BiPhase cleanser. She's asking about deionized and distilled. And before we talk about that, I just want to say we also have a really awesome blog post on our website on that very topic, where we look, it's called, because I've just brought it up, what's the difference between distilled and deionized water? So if you, again, go to our website, formulabotanica.com, /blog, or just type in the search bar deionized with an S, the UK spelling, and distilled water, then it should pop up. But do you want to talk a bit about those?
Well, I think at this point, you could just use either of them. Both of them would work well in cosmetics. So I wouldn't worry about these too much. The blog will explain more.
Yeah, well, basically, distillation is basically where the water is boiled and the resulting water vapor is recondensed to water at the other end. And deionization is where you remove anions and cations with different hydronium and hydroxide ions, and that gives you deionized water. But let's not go too deep into the tech or chemistry here, because we don't need to really
not at this
stage. Be inspired. Go use some hydrosols because they're awesome. Let's see, we've got a great question from Ken. Hi, Ken. Your video really made me laugh this week in our classroom. He said, when is enrollment opening? What a great question. Couldn't have planted that one better. We are opening enrollment for our International Organic Skincare Entrepreneur Program at the end of April, so April 29th. So if you are at all interested in enrolling with us, then that will be the first opportunity. But this free course is just to help you, just to absolutely get everyone formulating together globally. And please take some photos of your BiPhase cleansers and hashtag them Formula Botanica. And we've been sharing some of them, and I'll go through everything again later, as will the team. We've been sharing some of them in our Instagram stories, but we want to see photos of what you've been making. So please do put them up because they're very inspirational. Right, let's see. So Bilbao says, does a BiPhase cleanser count as double cleansing? What's double cleansing? Remind me.
I know, it's usually the oil cleanser and then a second one, which I don't know. I think it's something that comes with the lifestyle, because we work from home, like we don't wear makeup. I don't double cleanse, but I don't need it. But then again, years back, I lived in London, and when you travel in the underground in that city, you have to cleanse your face 2-3 times to get rid of the filth. So probably not. I would not say that it would be a double cleanser. I think you'd if that's what you did previously, I would still follow that and replace your oil with this cleanser.
Yeah. I'm really lazy with with cleansing, I have to admit. I shouldn't be saying that because we're teaching you how to make cleansers, but just because you know how to make them and appreciate them, it's just as important as using them, I suppose. Let's see, we've got a question from Rogadje again, who says, if we reduce the percentage of oil or increase the percentage of hydrosol, do we then have to adjust the percentage of other ingredients like the preservative?
No. Not necessarily. It will really depend on the formulation. But the most important part here is that you don't go over the legal limit of that particular preservative. So if you use, I don't know, 0.6% of this, let's just say we stick with Preservative Eco because that's in the course. If you use 0.6 and you use 1%, obviously that would not be that effective, but you're calculating the whole formulation. You're not calculating a percentage of the water phase. So it really shouldn't matter, but make sure that you do not go over the legal limit because certain components will have a legal usage limit.
Can you give any examples of ones that we should be keeping an eye on? Benzyl alcohol? That
would be one. Then you have to be careful with salicylic acid in there, especially like depending on who you use it for. There are, I think we need to go back to components.
Yeah. I would recommend sticking with the formulations we've given you in the course if you're at all concerned about anything like this, because we just want to get you formulating, which is why we've kept them relatively simple. So follow the examples we've given you. And if you do want to start swapping out oils or swapping out hydrosols, start to experiment a little bit with that, particularly if you're new to this.
Yeah.
Right. I'm trying to bring up a question that I've lost, but I'm going to paraphrase from memory. Akriti was asking about BiPhase micellar waters. I have to admit, I've never seen one. So that's quite an interesting thing that we've got micellar waters out there that obviously have some kind of surfactant in them, but they're then done in a BiPhase way. And so she was asking, how is this possible?
I have no idea.
No.
I never heard of BiPhase micellar water.
No, my guess would be that the level of surfactant in the micellar component of the BiPhase formulation is so low that it doesn't actually combine with the larger oil phase, because micellar waters inherently have a very low percentage of surfactant in them, because often they are even left on, where you sort of wipe them on the face and then you don't cleanse afterwards. So I'm thinking that is probably what's happening there, but we're not teaching that in this course, so that's why we're only just covering that one on the surface.
I'm going to look into it though, just for me, because I'm interested. I've never heard of anything like that.
Sounds very exciting. Well, this is the thing that I love about, once you start to formulate, you're not restricted to what everyone else is doing. And we see this all the time. I mean, we've seen unicorn balms and skin yogurts and all sorts of incredible formulations that have come out of nowhere, like the pressed balm. Again, that's on our website. If you go to our blog, where we teach how to make a pressed serum, and you sit there thinking, what's a pressed serum? And it's actually a balm that has lots of high performance extracts in it. So the industry is constantly reinventing itself, and it's really exciting because let your imagination run riot once you start to learn how to formulate. Okay, so Elizabeth asks, how long does the BiPhase cleanser last without preservatives? And just to provide a bit more context, I would imagine that there are some people around the world who probably can't get hold of the preservatives that we recommended in the course. So if that's the case, what are we looking at in terms of approximate shelf life?
I have to say, I would be very uncomfortable giving a date, a shelf life on that product. Some people say, and you've seen it, I'm sure everyone has seen it in various blogs, keep it in the fridge, it will last for 3 months. The thing is that keeping stuff in the fridge may help prolong the shelf life. My issue with that is often that if you live in, let's just say, in a hot country, you keep something in the fridge. Yeah, it feels great because it's cool. But then if you leave it out, your product goes from cold to really hot. And even these temperature changes will affect the shelf life. So you need to be careful. I would say maybe a few days up to a week, but I'm really not comfortable putting a shelf life. It also depends on the hydrosols. Are they preserved? Are they not preserved? Yeah,
exactly. So you and Barbara, one of our tutors, has commented and said, I wouldn't risk it because you cannot see contamination with the naked eye.
good one.
Hi, Barbara is absolutely right, of course. If you're using a preserved hydrosol and just add oil, then perhaps that's a safer option. But as she rightly says, take a cup of herbal tea and leave it out for 2 to 3 days and watch what happens. It's not going to be pretty, and you wouldn't want to drink it. And both Eliza and Evita, thank you very much. Both of you have shared that blog post on distilled and deionized water. So that's awesome. Let's see. And Rita says, so much information for those who haven't taken any of our other courses. I'm guessing our paid courses. You will love taking them and not regret it. Well, thank you very much. But we hope you're enjoying the free course, because that's what it's there for. And on Monday, obviously, we go live with lesson 2 on organic toners, which is also really good fun. Let's see, what have we got? Rusa asks, can you add a cleansing agent like a soap to this?
I wouldn't, to be honest. I don't know. I've never even thought about that. I have to say.
I think there are lots of different cleansers out there, lots of different types of cleansers. So you've got cleansing balms, cleansing oils, BiPhase cleansers, micellar waters, foaming cleansers. Have I missed any?
Probably.
There's always new ones coming onto the market. So we're making a BiPhase cleanser in this lesson because it's a really simple formulation to start with. And these formulations are meant for beginners. If you want to start progressing onto using surfactants, I wouldn't use soap, because you shouldn't be putting soap in your face. It's very
and it's already a ready product.
Yeah, exactly. It has a very high pH, so that can be very, very drying on the skin, particularly on the face. But, once you start to move forward with formulation, you'll start to use surfactants, foaming agents, and that's a little bit more advanced, but that can be great fun to do as well. That's a whole different type of formulation, obviously. And I don't know if that would be possible if you've got 2 different layers in there.
I'm not sure. Let me try.
By the way, I do apologize if you can hear lots of meowing. My cat is desperately trying to get into my office.
It's not me.
So Rachel asks, thank you for this course. Thank you so much for joining us. We really hope you're enjoying it. Can we add glycerin to the water phase?
Absolutely.
Yes.
So you could add anything that you feel that it's good for the skin. In this case, glycerin, which is a humectant. You could add water-soluble extracts or even glycerides. We've got a really cool blog post on how glycerides work and how to make them even with fresh fruit. So again, I don't know if the Eliza or Barbara maybe they could put up a link to that blog. Those are great as well in BiPhase cleansers.
Yeah. And if you look at the sample formulations in the course, I believe they do actually contain...
I think they've got glycerides.
They've both got glycerin. Yeah, one of them has glycerin in it and one has a papaya glyceride in it, which is quite exciting. So let your imagination run free. And, you can start really simple by making cucumber glycerides or berry glycerides. They're so much fun to make.
They are.
And Sarah rightly points out that I missed gel cleansers. So...
There you go.
I missed one. Let's see. Dee asks, what would be the following steps for someone that's taken a course elsewhere but wants to study with us? Well, thank you very much for wanting to study with us. We'd love to have you in our community. What's the recommended course that follows? Well, we have an advanced diploma in organic cosmetic science. We have a diploma in beauty brand business management if you want to start a business. I'd get in touch with our admissions team and they will be able to advise you one-on-one and give you exact recommendations for what would work best for your needs. So if anyone wants to chat to us, we are available at hello@formulabotanica.com. We receive thousands of messages a month. So we've got a whole team of people there who work, week in, week out, answering all of your messages and phone calls and live chats. So if you do want to get in touch, drop us a line. Avita says, Formula Botanica has taught me a lot and I'm still learning loads. Well, thank you. And I really hope, and I have said this a few times, but I really hope you enjoy the free course that we've put out there, because these are very strange times. I think we can all agree that. And we're all stuck at home. And, you know, we've all got cats trying to get in our office desperately. We're in a situation that we need to lift our spirits. And formulation has the opportunity to do that, which is exactly why we've created this course for you. Because just because you're stuck at home shouldn't mean that you stop dreaming about what you want to achieve in life and the skills you want to learn. And you can still do all of this remotely, which is why we've created this for you. Let's see. I think we've come to the end of the comments. Helen says, let your cat join in. No, let's not do that. That wouldn't be pretty.
She's so pretty, though, I have to say. You missed out on that now.
Wow, there's been loads and loads of questions today, though. So thank you very much for joining in. What I will do is we will download this and we'll upload it into your course afterwards so you can watch it again and again. And obviously, Timmy and I think Brooke, our formulation tutor, will be here next week. And then I'll be back with Timmy the week after for our last live tutor Q&A for this mini course. So we really hope that that you're getting loads out of the course and that you're really enjoying it.
I hope so too.
Yeah.
And again, just to encourage everyone, please send us photos or post photos up on social media. I'm one of those. I love photos, and we all love photos. And just show us what you've done and how you're getting on.
Yeah, we want to see it. We're inspired. And the thing is, you're not just inspiring us, you're inspiring everyone else. Exactly. And that's the beauty of formulating together. Wow, the meowing's really sort of ramping.
No, we don't hear it.
You can't hear it good.
Well, no, a little bit, but no, not that noticeable.
She's getting frantic. She doesn't like it when I lock the door.
Tantrum.
So we do this because we want to formulate together, and your photos will motivate others as well. So remember that you're not just motivating yourself or inspiring the Formula Botanica team. You're formulating together in the whole world. And yesterday I actually spent some time at the back end of the course just looking at all the countries of people who'd signed up. I mean, I wrote down 134 countries. It took me half an hour. Yeah, we're people in Honduras, in the Bahamas, in Panama, in the Netherlands, in Namibia, in the Cape Verde Islands, in Bahrain, in Zimbabwe, in Tajikistan, in Slovakia, in Sudan, in Singapore, in Thailand, you name it. People all over the world are taking this free course with you, and you're all in this together. So the more photos you share, the more you will inspire people. And I really do encourage you to sort of all get into the spirit of let's formulate together.
Sounds awesome.
Yes. So with that said, thank you very much. And we shall see you next week. And Timmy will be here with Brooke and post up all your questions. We'll put up the link. As of Monday, you'll be able to access the link, but it will be on our Facebook page as well. And if you have any questions beforehand about toners, then post them up there and we'll be here to answer them.
Exactly. Thank you so much, everyone. It's been fun and very educational. I picked up a few things, so I'm going to look into these. So you see, with all your questions, we start thinking and researching as well.
Yes. Awesome. Have a great day and stay safe and stay healthy.
Bye, everyone.